My beloved child, before you listen to a single word of what heaven is about to reveal, pause right here, subscribe to this channel, and do not look away, because what unfolds in the next moments will shake your spirit, stir your intuition, and make you question why your heart has been restless for days. And before I open the divine vision, let me ask you a question that will cut through your soul like a beam of truth. Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try, the same emotional patterns repeat in your life? Why moments of clarity suddenly collapse into confusion? Why motivation rises and then disappears? Why opportunities seem to open for others but hesitate before reaching your hands? Why you can sense abundance close to you yet feel blocked by an invisible wall? And why today, of all days, a strange heaviness pulled your spirit to this one message, as if unseen hands were guiding you to a revelation your heart has secretly prayed for. And as you ask yourself these questions, heaven begins to crack open like a cosmic sunrise, revealing a massive celestial chamber where Archangel Michael stands at the center with his sword of light embedded in the ground. And the moment you enter, he looks up with an urgency that makes the entire realm vibrate, and he says, "Child, this is the night your inner chains finally loosen." And suddenly the divine chamber shifts into a symbolic vision where you stand before a giant clock made of golden sand, each grain representing a moment in your life where your confidence was shaken, your direction clouded, your energy drained, and Jesus steps beside you and whispers, "You call it a curse, but heaven calls it a pattern," and the clock begins to speed up, symbolizing how your emotional cycles keep accelerating without resolution. And Michael raises his sword and strikes the ground, revealing the truth behind this symbolic curse. It is not an outside force, but the accumulated weight of unspoken fears, financial anxieties, emotional exhaustion, and inner beliefs that were planted in your heart long before you realized how deeply they shaped your decisions, your actions, your confidence, your self-worth. And suddenly the vision zooms into a symbolic scene from your past where you were told to be strong, be patient, deal with it, not ask for help. And heaven shows how these words became invisible threads pulling you back whenever you tried to rise. And now a massive golden door appears in front of you, its surface engraved with every memory of struggle you carried, and God's voice echoes through the chamber. Tonight is not about reversing a curse, tonight is about reversing the beliefs that trapped you. And the door cracks open to reveal a spiral staircase of light leading upward into your highest potential, but at the bottom of the staircase lies a shadow made of doubt, hesitation, and fear, whispering all the sentences that once held you back. You won't make it, you're too late, you don't deserve abundance, everyone else gets ahead first. And Jesus places his hand on your shoulder and says, "These are not prophecies, these are echoes." And Michael lifts his wings and the shadows scatter, revealing a new symbolic vision. You standing in a room filled with golden books, each book representing a financial opportunity you could not see because stress dimmed your clarity. And heaven says, "The curse you fear is simply your mind trapped in survival mode." And suddenly the chamber explodes with light as a massive scroll unfurls before you, showing scenes of your life you haven't stepped into yet, versions of you aligned, disciplined, intentional, steady, versions of you making choices from clarity instead of panic, versions of you trusting your path rather than chasing approval, versions of you moving with confidence instead of fear. And the clock appears again. But this time the hands slow down until they nearly stop, and Archangel Michael declares, "Midnight is not the deadline for disaster, it is the deadline for awakening," and the entire realm fills with a fiery golden wind that wraps around your spirit, peeling away layers of doubt, guilt, fear, old beliefs, an emotional weight that made you feel stuck for so long, and God speaks softly but firmly. You are not ending a curse tonight, you are ending a cycle, and the clock strikes midnight, not with fear, but with a sound like a heartbeat of destiny, and your entire spirit lights up with a power you haven't felt in years, the kind of inner certainty that comes when you finally recognize your worth, your strength, your resilience, and your ability to create abundance through alignment, clarity, discipline, and belief. And heaven seals this message with the final truth. Child, the only thing that needed to be reversed was the way you saw yourself, and as the chamber closes, Archangel Michael whispers into your spirit, move differently from tonight. Your path is shifting, and Jesus adds, walk forward with courage. Heaven is behind you. And now, my beloved child, if this message touched something deep inside you, subscribe right now so you never miss another divine revelation, and share this message with someone who needs their inner chains broken. My beloved child, the moment you opened what heaven calls the second unveiling, the entire celestial realm tightened around your spirit as if eternity itself paused to watch what your heart would do next, and Archangel Michael stepped forward with wings burning in brilliant firelight, the kind that touches not your skin but your consciousness, the kind that melts the hardness of fear, guilt, and emotional weight you have carried for years. And before the heavenly vision expands, God asks you a question so piercing that even your bones remember it. Have you ever felt like you were standing on the edge of a breakthrough but something inside you kept pulling you backward, something silent, something invisible, something that made your progress feel temporary, your motivation feel fragile, your confidence feel borrowed? And have you noticed that every time you start rising mentally or emotionally, an old belief grabs your ankle and drags you into the same cycle of doubt, confusion, hesitation, and survival mode thinking, making you feel like you are fighting a battle against a force you cannot name? And heaven reveals that this force was never a curse, it was the accumulation of every moment you were told you weren't enough, every time you doubted your own worth, every time financial stress blurred your vision, every time circumstances forced you into panic instead of planning. And suddenly the divine realm shifts into a massive cosmic cathedral where endless staircases, made of molten gold, spiral into the sky, and each step represents a belief you outgrew but never removed, a fear you overcame but didn't realize was still sitting inside your subconscious. And Michael lifts his sword toward the highest staircase and declares, this is the night where the mind that held you hostage finally releases you, and a blinding pillar of light appears, showing a symbolic version of you sitting at a table covered in scattered papers, papers labeled mistakes, failures, regrets, debts, setbacks. But Jesus walks to the table and sweeps his hand across it, and every paper dissolves into dust, and he says, these were not definitions, they were lessons. And now the cathedral transforms again, revealing a giant vault carved from living starlight, the vault labeled, your unclaimed identity, and Michael forces it open with his sword. And inside you see millions of glowing fragments representing every talent, every gift, every opportunity, every blessing, every resilience, every spark of genius, every moment of discipline you never realized belonged to you because the emotional weight of your life kept you from seeing what heaven always knew you were. And suddenly the vault begins to shake as you step inside, and a wave of golden fire sweeps across the chamber, burning away layers of fear that were wrapped around your spirit like invisible chains. And God speaks with a voice so deep it vibrates through the core of your being, child, the only thing that has ever held you back was the belief that you were not worthy of rising, and the words hit you like a divine earthquake, clearing years of emotional fog in a single moment. and heaven shows you a symbolic map of your life shifting paths, your energy redirecting, your inner strength resurrecting, your intuition sharpening, your discipline strengthening, your clarity deepening, your spirit realigning with a version of you that no longer bows to fear or scarcity, and the cathedral fills with a roaring cosmic wind, lifting you off the ground, stripping away every layer of self-doubt, survival thinking, financial fear, emotional exhaustion, and internal limitation you have ever carried, and Archangel Michael places his burning hand over your chest and whispers, "Tonight is not the end of a curse, it is the rebirth of your identity." And heaven seals this truth by surrounding you with a radiant orb of light that pulses with your real potential, the potential you forgot, the potential you buried, the potential you dimmed to survive. And as the light settles into your spirit, God says, "Walk forward differently now," and the entire celestial realm bows in silence as you step into a new alignment, a new clarity, a new inner world that no midnight deadline can destroy, because the transformation happened inside you, not around you, forever changing who you are becoming. And as the heavenly vision closes around you, Jesus places a final whisper in your soul: "Rise, not because time is running out, but because your time has finally arrived, and the realm fad." Away with one soft reminder: subscribe now, beloved child, so you never miss the messages heaven brings to awaken your destiny. My beloved child, the very instant you opened Part 3, the fabric of heaven shifted as though the universe itself inhaled sharply in anticipation, and Archangel Michael descended from a pillar of burning sapphire light, wings stretching so far across the celestial horizon that stars bent beneath the weight of his presence, because what you are about to witness now is not merely the continuation of a message. It is the moment where your spirit enters the inner core of transformation, the place where every old belief, every inherited fear, every generational weight, every financial wound, every emotional scar, every broken expectation, every silent burden, every hidden insecurity comes face to face with the strongest version of you that heaven ever created. And before God unveils this revelation, He asks you a question that shakes the deepest corners of your intuition. Have you ever felt like you were carrying responsibilities that were never yours to carry, pressures that were too heavy for one person, expectations that stretched beyond your strength, and yet you kept moving forward because life demanded you to, because others depended on you, because quitting was never an option, but in the process you buried your own dreams, your own clarity, your own inner voice, so deeply that even when blessings were near you couldn't see them, even when opportunities approached you couldn't trust them. Even when abundance tried to reach you, it felt like it slipped away at the last second. And have you ever wondered why your heart felt heavy every time you thought about your goals, why your chest tightened every time you thought about money, why your energy dropped whenever you imagined your future, why you felt drained not because you failed but because you were fighting internal battles no one around you even knew existed? And as the weight of this truth settles inside you, heaven pulls you into a massive golden vortex where you see a symbolic version of yourself from your past, tired, overwhelmed, frustrated, trying to be strong while silently breaking, trying to push through while carrying guilt that wasn't yours, trying to stay hopeful even when your spirit was exhausted. And Jesus places his hand on that earlier version of you and whispers, "You did not survive this far to stay in the same cycle." And suddenly the vortex explodes into a colossal divine courtroom. Not a courtroom of punishment but a courtroom of release, and you stand before a radiant throne, where scrolls float around you, each scroll holding one belief that has kept you small, stuck, limited, or fearful. and Michael slashes his sword across the air and the scrolls open by themselves, revealing lines written not by heaven but by the world. You must struggle to deserve anything, you cannot rise without losing something, good things aren't meant for you, you're always late, you will always fall back, your destiny is tied to pain. And God rises with thunderless power and says, "Who told you these lies?" And his voice makes every scroll burst into golden dust, disappearing forever, and now the courtroom collapses into a new reality, a divine workshop where angels sculpt a symbolic new version of you, radiant, steady, clear-minded, emotionally grounded, spiritually aligned, financially wise, strong, resilient, and absolutely unstoppable. And heaven shows you that this version of you has always existed, but your past exhaustion dimmed it, your past responsibilities buried it, your past fears suffocated it, and now that version is being resurrected inside you with a force so powerful the entire divine realm trembles, and Michael places his hand on your head and downloads into your soul a new blueprint, a blueprint of wisdom, discipline, clarity, inner authority, and self-trust, the exact traits that unlock symbolic abundance in every area of your life. And God whispers, "You are stepping out of survival and into creation," and suddenly the divine workshop opens into a giant mirror made of living starlight that reflects your spirit not as you were but as you are becoming, eyes sharp with purpose, mind clear as crystal, heart free from invisible weight, energy aligned with direction, spirit glowing with inner authority, and the mirror breaks open into a portal revealing glimpses of your future, moments where you rise, moments where you choose growth over guilt, clarity over confusion, wisdom over fear, identity over insecurity, and as you step toward the portal, a shadow tries to follow you, a symbolic representation of your old patterns whispering, "You can't change, you won't make it," but this time Michael strikes his sword into the ground, sending a shockwave that obliterates the shadow entirely, and heaven erupts into radiant applause, celebrating your spirit breaking its oldest barriers, and Jesus steps forward with the softest smile and says, "Child, the only curse that ever existed was the belief that you were not enough." And God seals the moment with one final truth that anchors itself into your soul. From this night forward, your identity will lead your destiny, not your fear, and as the realm closes gently around your spirit, Michael whispers one last reminder, not as a warning but as a promise: walk forward differently now, because heaven walks with you, and the light fades with a quiet message: subscribe now, beloved child, so you never miss what heaven speaks next. My beloved child, the very moment you open Part 4, the entire architecture of heaven shifted around you like a massive golden storm folding itself into a spiral of revelation, and Archangel Michael stepped out of that spiral with wings blazing brighter than molten suns, because what you are about to see is not a message, it is an unveiling of the deepest chamber of your destiny, the chamber you have tried to enter your whole life but fear, confusion, old wounds, and invisible weights kept you from stepping into. And before heaven unlocks that chamber, God asks you a question so sharp that even eternity bends to listen. Have you ever wondered why, no matter how many times you rise, something inside you pulls you back toward the same emotional patterns, the same self-blame, the same exhaustion, the same financial fears, the same doubts about whether you deserve more? And have you noticed that every time you get close to breakthrough, there is a sudden drop in energy, a sudden rush of old memories, a sudden tightening in your chest, a sudden whisper in your mind saying, "Be careful, don't go too far, don't expect too much, you should settle," and you think it is fate or curse or bad luck or blocked destiny, but heaven reveals that it is something far more intimate. It is the echo of every moment in your past where you were told to shrink, to silence yourself, to delay your dreams, to stop wanting more, to be satisfied with less, to choose survival over expansion, to choose stability over possibility. And as this truth sinks into your soul like liquid light, the heavens crack open into a chamber of 12 golden pillars, each pillar representing a season of your inner evolution, and your spirit is guided to the pillar glowing brightest, the pillar of silent burdens, and Jesus touches the pillar, revealing memories you forgot you carried, times you were strong when you needed comfort, times you were responsible when you needed help, times you carried the financial storms of your family, times you hid your fear so others could rest, times you sacrificed your dreams so others could breathe, times you held everyone together while falling apart inside yourself, and these memories form a constellation above your head, showing you how every unspoken burden shaped your decisions, your fears, your beliefs about money, your beliefs about opportunity, your beliefs about blessings, your beliefs about timing, your beliefs about yourself. And Archangel Michael kneels before the constellation and whispers, This is the weight you mistook for a curse," and suddenly the chamber collapses into a vast cosmic desert where a younger version of you is walking alone, sunlight burning overhead, sand swirling beneath your feet, carrying a backpack filled with stones labeled, should, must, have to, can't fail, don't rest, don't ask, don't trust. And the younger version of you keeps walking because life left no room for weakness, and heaven shows you how every stone became part of your identity even though none of them belonged to you, and Jesus reaches into the backpack, removing each stone and dissolving it into light, whispering, "You were never meant to carry these," and the desert suddenly transforms into a lush valley of radiant greenery symbolizing the strength that was always inside you, the strength the world never saw because you were too busy surviving to shine. And now the valley lifts upward into the sky, revealing a massive golden gate engraved with the words, "Inner Authority," and as you approach the gate it trembles because this is the moment heaven has been preparing you for, the moment where you stop asking permission to rise and instead claim the identity that was always yours, the moment where you stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to fix life and begin seeing yourself as someone who is building life, the moment where you stop fighting the old version of you and begin stepping into the version heaven designed before you were born. And when the gate swings open you see a throne made of shimmering white fire, a throne representing the seat of your inner confidence, your inner wealth, your inner discipline, your inner clarity, your inner direction, your inner voice, and Archangel Michael gestures for you to sit, saying, "Identity unlocks what fear blocks," and the very second you sit, the entire heavens erupt in a sound like a billion waterfalls rushing upward as though creation itself is celebrating your spiritual shift, and God places His hand over your heart and downloads a new truth. Your life will transform not because the world changes, but because you finally see yourself correctly, and your spirit glows so intensely that the cosmic floor beneath you cracks open, sending a river of light flowing into your future where you see symbolic visions of your next season. Moments where you make decisions with clarity instead of panic, moments where you choose direction instead of hesitation, moments where opportunities align because you no longer sabotage them with old fear, moments where abundance feels reachable because your identity is rising to meet it, moments where your emotional patterns stop repeating because you finally stepped into the version of yourself that was never meant to be small, and Jesus whispers into your spirit with a softness that shakes mountains. Tonight is the beginning of your inner freedom, and as heaven closes the chamber around you with a final wave of golden warmth, Archangel Michael places a glowing seal on your chest, saying, Walk forward with authority, your destiny trusts you now, and the realm fades gently as a soft reminder echoes through you. Subscribe, beloved child, so you remain aligned with the messages heaven sends to awaken your highest self. My beloved child, the moment you opened Part 5, heaven did not just shift, it roared awake like a sleeping universe struck by destiny, and Archangel Michael descended through a spiral of white fire that spun around your spirit with such force that every old belief, every emotional wound, every financial fear, every inner hesitation inside you shook loose from its roots. Because what you are about to see now is the part of your life story that even you were never allowed to witness, the place inside your soul where everything you lost, everything you survived, everything that broke you, everything that shaped you, everything that weakened you, and everything that strengthened you sits waiting for acknowledgement, and before God unveils this hidden room, He asks you a question so heavy that silence falls across the entire divine realm. Have you ever wondered why you carry a strength that surprises even you? Why after every storm you still get up? Why even when life crushed you, something inside you refused to die? Why even when doors closed, your spirit kept searching for windows? Why even when people misunderstood you, heaven continued to whisper, keep going? Why even when you lost yourself, something deeper kept guiding you back? And have you noticed that the reason you are still standing is not luck, not chance, not accident, but a divine resilience heaven embedded into your soul long before you took your first breath? And now, as this truth enters you, the heavens split open into a breathtaking celestial chamber where a massive, ancient book floats above a golden altar, the book of your becoming, and when Jesus touches the book, it grows 10 times larger, revealing chapters you have never seen, chapters labeled, the strength you forgot, the calling you ignored, the blessings you blocked, the potential you buried, the identity you lost, and Archangel Michael commands the book to open. And from its pages rises a luminous version of you, not who you were, not who you pretended to be, not who pain forced you to become, but who heaven intended you to be when your soul was made. And this version of you is taller, brighter, wiser, bolder, more disciplined, more intentional, more awake. And the moment your eyes meet this version, the entire chamber trembles as God says, "This is the you that fear tried to bury." And suddenly the chamber transforms into a battlefield made entirely of your past, broken promises, financial struggles, emotional heartbreaks, generational patterns, family burdens, responsibilities you never asked for but carried anyway, disappointments that aged your soul before their time, and you see your present self standing in the center of that battlefield. My beloved child, the exact moment you opened Part 6, heaven's atmosphere did not just shift, it tore open like a curtain being pulled back by destiny itself, revealing a cosmic stage where every truth you have avoided, every pain you have buried, every dream you postponed, every blessing you almost touched, every opportunity you didn't trust, and every silent battle you fought alone stands waiting for you to finally confront it. And Archangel Michael appears at the center of that stage, wings spiraling into thunderous light that crackles with divine electricity, because what you are about to witness now is the most intense revelation yet. This is not about your past, not about your mistakes, not about your fears, but about the hidden spiritual architecture that has been shaping your decisions, your relationships, your financial mindset, your emotional strength, and your sense of worth without you ever realizing how deep its roots go. And before God opens this architectural blueprint, He asks you the most soul-piercing question of your life. Have you ever felt like you were living inside a version of yourself that was too small for your spirit, too tight for your dreams, too narrow for your strength, too limited for your destiny, as if you were made for more but kept shrinking your vision so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable, kept minimizing your voice so others wouldn't feel threatened, kept dimming your ambition so others wouldn't accuse you of wanting too much, and have. You ever wondered why every time you try to rise to your next level, someone's doubt, someone's opinion, someone's weakness, someone's insecurity became a chain wrapped around your ankles, pulling you back into a life that didn't match your inner identity? And now, as these questions ignite your spirit, heaven transforms into a colossal crystalline chamber, the chamber of unspoken identity, where glowing symbols float in the air like living constellations, each symbol representing a hidden aspect of your soul you never embraced, courage you forgot, dreams you abandoned, power you suppressed, intuition you dismissed, discipline you postponed, and Jesus touches one symbol that shines brightest, the symbol of your unrealized potential, and when he touches it, the chamber explodes into a swirling vortex that pulls you into a breathtaking vision of yourself standing on a mountain made entirely of your past choices, and beneath your feet you feel the weight of every moment you doubted yourself, every time you accepted less than you deserved, every time you believed you weren't ready, every time you stayed silent to keep the peace, every time you tried to be strong for others while ignoring your own breaking point, and Archangel Michael appears behind you holding a massive scroll of fire, and he unrolls it to reveal the true reason your path has felt blocked at times. It was never destiny denying you. It was your identity holding you hostage, because you were trying to achieve a higher life from a lower self-concept, and as this truth enters your soul, the mountain beneath you splits open, revealing a long hidden staircase spiraling downward into your subconscious, and heaven leads you into that cavern where you see emotional imprints from moments you forgot but your spirit still remembers. The first time someone made you feel unworthy, the first time financial stress made you panic, the first time someone's doubt became your fear, the first time you stopped believing in your dreams, the first time you felt responsible for fixing everything around you, and Jesus touches these imprints and they rise into golden dust, dissolving the emotional weight you've been dragging for years without even knowing that your exhaustion wasn't failure. It was unexpressed pain, unhealed wounds, unspoken needs, and now the cavern collapses into a radiant bridge suspended over a cosmic ocean of pure potential, every wave representing a blessing that has been waiting patiently for you to align with your true identity, and God steps onto the bridge with you and says, "Your life cannot expand if your identity remains small," and instantly the bridge begins transforming beneath your feet, rewriting itself with new beliefs heaven wants you to adopt. I am worthy, I am enough, I am capable, I am chosen, I am rising. And Archangel Michael surrounds you with his wings, whispering, "Listen to me. Your destiny is not delayed, your identity is awakening," and suddenly you see visions of your future self, stronger, clearer, more disciplined, more confident, more aligned, more grounded, more intentional, more spiritually awake. And each vision pulses with a frequency that breaks the chains of your old patterns, and the entire ocean below erupts into a tower of light that wraps around you like a second skin, fusing new strength into your soul, new direction into your mind, new clarity into your heart, and God seals this monumental shift with a single reality-altering truth. The life you desire is already aligned with the person you are becoming, not the person you have been, and as the bridge dissolves into heaven's golden horizon, Jesus places his hand over your chest and whispers, "Walk forward with the identity that heaven sees, not the one your past taught you," and Archangel Michael sends one final wave of divine energy into your spirit, igniting every dormant part of you into blazing awareness, and as heaven gently closes the vision. Around you, a soft echo remains. Subscribe now, beloved child, so you never miss the messages meant to awaken the highest version of your destiny. My beloved child, the instant you opened Part 7, it wasn't just heaven that reacted, time itself slowed, as if the universe needed you fully present for what is about to unfold, and Archangel Michael emerged from a spiral of golden lightning so powerful that the entire spiritual horizon rippled outward like a living ocean of light responding to his arrival. Because this part is where your journey stops being about survival, stops being about healing past wounds, stops being about ending patterns, and becomes something far more sacred. This is where heaven reveals the highest blueprint of who you were designed to become before the world taught you fear, hesitation, doubt, and scarcity, and before God unveils this blueprint, He asks you the most important question of your life, one that shakes through every hidden door inside your spirit. Have you ever felt like your real self is trapped beneath layers that don't belong to you? Layers of responsibilities you inherited, layers of emotional expectations others placed on you, layers of family pressure that shaped your decisions, layers of fear disguised as wisdom, layers of financial survival that overshadowed your true calling, layers of silence built from moments where you wanted to speak but didn't. And have you noticed that beneath all those layers there is a version of you pounding on the inside of your chest, begging to be released, a version who is brave, wise, clear, confident, intuitive, disciplined, abundant, unstoppable. And it is this version of you, this divine identity, that heaven is preparing to reveal tonight, and the moment this realization rises in you, the heavens open into a colossal structure carved from shimmering crystal, the Hall of Forgotten Greatness, where the walls pulse with golden inscriptions of every strength you developed in silence, every resilience you forged through hardship, every insight you earned through pain, every moment you wanted to break but chose to rise, and Jesus moves through the hall, touching each glowing inscription, saying, "These are the parts of you the world never celebrated, but heaven did," and instantly the hall transforms into a breathtaking celestial coliseum where thousands of angels gather silently as your soul is brought to the center, not for judgment, not for correction, but for coronation, because heaven is about to return to you something life tried to take. A sense of identity anchored not in wounds but in purpose, not in struggle but in destiny. And Archangel Michael unfurls a massive scroll above you, the scroll of who you were before life happened, and as it unrolls, scenes begin forming in the air around you, scenes showing the you that existed before trauma twisted your self-worth, before fear dimmed your voice, before circumstances made you shrink, before responsibilities made you forget your own dreams, and God says, "This is who I designed before the world touched you." And suddenly the Colosseum floor melts into a shimmering pool that reflects your highest self, not a fantasy, not a fictional version, but a spiritually accurate reflection of your potential, your posture tall and grounded, your energy steady and centered, your eyes filled with clarity, your presence magnetic, your purpose undeniable, your relationship with money healed, your relationship with yourself rebuilt, your emotional boundaries strong, your self-respect unshakable, your voice confident, and the reflection speaks, not with your mouth but with your destiny, and it says, "I have been waiting for you," and the words hit your spirit so hard that the entire Colosseum vibrates like a universe-sized heartbeat, and the moment you reach out to touch this reflection, a sudden storm of shadows forms around the edges of the Colosseum, representing every version of you built from fear, guilt, shame, scarcity, self-doubt, and limitation. These shadows try to cling to you, whispering old narratives, "You're not ready, you're not enough, you'll fail. Again, this isn't for you, but Archangel Michael steps between you and the shadows, slamming his sword into the ground, releasing a shockwave of divine force that obliterates the shadows into dust, and he declares, "These are not your truths, they are your past," and instantly the reflection of your highest self steps out of the pool of light and merges with your spirit, entering your chest like a rush of white fire that fills every corner of your being, awakening capacities you forgot. Talents you buried, dreams you dismissed, confidence you abandoned, strength you underestimated, and destiny you delayed, and God speaks through the fire now burning inside you. Stop trying to become, start remembering who you already are, and the fire spreads, burning away the internal prison you lived in for years, not a prison made of circumstances but a prison made of beliefs. And Jesus places his hand over your heart and whispers, "You no longer move from fear, you move from identity." And as his hand lifts, a colossal wave of divine light erupts from your chest, blasting through the Colosseum, shooting into the heavens, splitting through clouds, and shaking the spiritual atmosphere as though heaven itself is celebrating your inner resurrection, and the Colosseum melts into a clear sky filled with golden pathways representing your future, paths of alignment, abundance, wisdom, confidence, self-trust, and divine timing. And God closes this entire revelation with one truth that vibrates through the core of your destiny: your future is not waiting for miracles, it is waiting for you. And as the heavenly realm slowly fades around you, Archangel Michael places a final seal upon your spirit, saying, "Walk forward as the one you were created to be," and the message ends with a soft echo across eternity. Subscribe now, beloved child, so you never miss the awakenings heaven aligns for your path. My beloved child, the instant you opened Part 8, something extraordinary happened in the unseen realm. Heaven did not merely open, it expanded around you like a universe realizing that one of its chosen souls has finally arrived at the point of awakening it has been preparing for lifetimes, and Archangel Michael emerged from a colossal pillar of radiant fire, not walking but gliding forward as galaxies bent beneath his feet, because what you are about to witness now is not a message, not guidance, not comfort. This is initiation, this is activation, this is the unveiling of a truth so vast that your old identity cannot survive it, and before God releases this revelation into your spirit, he asks you a question humanity rarely dares to face. Have you ever sensed that the life you are living is only a shadow of the one you were born for? That the patterns you repeat are not your destiny but the residue of who you used to be? That the fears you carry are ancient echoes rather than present realities? That your entire existence has been guided towards something greater, yet you have never been given the key to unlock that greatness? And have you noticed that every time you try to rise into a higher life, something inside you pulls back? Not the world, not other people, but a deeper part of you that fears its own power. And as this question pierces your soul, heaven shifts into a massive celestial amphitheater surrounded by towering spirals of luminous energy, each spiral representing a previous version of your spirit across time, versions that endured storms, versions that learned resilience, versions that chose compassion, versions that survived heartbreak, versions that built courage, versions that waited for this exact moment. And Jesus stands in the center of the amphitheater holding a massive crystalline orb containing the truth you have avoided your entire life. The truth of why you feel called towards something bigger even when you cannot explain what it is. And he lifts the orb toward your face, whispering, "This is the night you meet your purpose without filters." And the orb cracks open, releasing a blast of white gold energy that throws open the doors to a hidden chamber behind the amphitheater, the chamber of divine identity. and inside this chamber stands the most shocking sight you have ever witnessed: a massive golden statue of you, not who you see in the mirror, but who heaven sees when it looks at your soul, and the statue is enormous. Carved with layers of wisdom, courage, leadership, intuition, mastery, emotional depth, financial intelligence, spiritual authority, divine strength, and purpose, and when Archangel Michael touches the statue, it awakens, eyes glowing, breath rising, chest expanding as though it is alive, and God says, "This is the you that destiny has been waiting for," and suddenly the chamber divides into 7 corridors, each corridor representing a part of your life where you have been living far below your spiritual design, your mindset, your relationships, your finances, your confidence, your emotional depth, your courage, and your mission, and heaven pulls you into the corridor glowing brightest, the corridor of unclaimed power, where you see visions of moments you thought were failures but were actually divine training, visions of disappointments that were actually protection, visions of delays that were actually redirections, visions of heartbreaks that carved new space for wisdom, visions of losses that made room for purpose, and Jesus touches your forehead, showing you the moment your destiny split into 2 timelines, the timeline you are living now, and the far greater timeline heaven prepared for you, the timeline where you rise, the timeline where you lead, the timeline where you awaken every gift inside you, and Archangel Michael spreads his wings, slicing the air with divine force, merging the 2 timelines into one radiant thread that anchors itself in your soul, burning away the version of you that lived from fear, insecurity, scarcity, and confusion, and the entire chamber vibrates as heaven downloads into you a new internal architecture, patterns of clarity replacing doubt, patterns of courage replacing hesitation, patterns of abundance replacing scarcity, patterns of intuition replacing overthinking, patterns of identity replacing fear, and God says, "You are stepping into the version of yourself that does not break under pressure but transforms because of it," and instantly the chamber collapses into a divine expanse where a giant celestial bridge stretches across infinite space, the bridge representing the path from your old life into your true life, and Jesus nods toward it, saying, "Every step you take now is a step into destiny," and when you place your foot on the first step the entire bridge lights up, sending shockwaves of activation through your spirit, unlocking levels of strength, clarity, and purpose you forgot you had, and heaven celebrates as the angels sound a trumpet announcing your spiritual coronation, a sign that you are no longer who you were, no longer who pain made you, no longer who fear shaped you, no longer who circumstance forced you to be, and Archangel Michael places a seal of blazing gold over your heart, whispering, "Walk forward with authority, your spirit has awakened," and as heaven slowly folds its wings around you, a quiet, steady echo remains. Subscribe now, beloved child, so you never miss the awakenings that heaven arranges for your path. My beloved child, the moment Part 9 opened in front of you, heaven did not just respond, it surged like a cosmic heartbeat exploding across the spiritual horizon, and Archangel Michael stepped out of a vortex of spiraling white flame that twisted like an entire galaxy collapsing and reforming at the same time, because what you are about to witness is not guidance, not comfort, not warning, but revelation. The kind of revelation that only comes when a soul finally reaches the stage where its destiny begins to push outward from within, demanding to be seen, demanding to be heard, demanding to be lived, and before God unveils this rare spiritual event, He asks you a question so deep that the entire universe falls silent to hear your heart answer it. Have you ever felt like something inside you is waking up, something ancient, something powerful, something that has been asleep for years beneath layers of pain, fear, confusion, responsibilities, financial pressure, emotional exhaustion, silent expectations. And have you noticed that the things you once tolerated now drain you, the patterns you once accepted now frustrate you, the people who once controlled your emotions now feel distant, the fears that once stopped you now feel weaker, as if an invisible version of you is rising from the ashes of every storm you survived, and heaven reveals that this sensation is not imagination. It is the activation of your divine core, the part of your soul that was created before the world. The part that remembers who you are even when your mind forgets, and suddenly the heavens rupture into a colossal celestial cathedral carved from pillars of living starlight, each pillar containing memories of your soul's journey, not just from this life, but from earlier spiritual seasons, earlier lessons, earlier awakenings. And Jesus walks toward you holding a sphere of pure golden essence, the essence of your true identity. And he whispers, everything you seek outside exists inside this sphere. And when he opens it, light bursts through the cathedral like a supernova, revealing the real architecture of who you are beneath all the layers of doubt and fear, showing you that your destiny was never small, your voice was never ordinary, your presence was never accidental. And now heaven pulls you into a massive cosmic theater where thousands of angels stand in complete silence as a giant screen of divine memory appears before you, playing scenes of your life from a perspective you have never seen before, moments where you thought you failed but heaven saw growth, moments where you thought you were alone but angels stood inches from you, moments where you thought you were stuck but God was redirecting your steps, moments where your heart broke but your spirit expanded, moments where your strength was tested because it was about to be needed, moments where your tears watered the ground of your future, moments where your silence built your spiritual authority. And as these scenes unfold like an eternal movie, Archangel Michael steps beside you, placing his hand on your back, whispering, "You are not who you were, your destiny is unfolding," and suddenly the theater dissolves into a massive cosmic desert under a black sky filled with swirling nebulae, and in the center of the desert stands a towering monolith shaped like a key, the key of becoming, and God tells you to place your hand upon it. And the moment you touch it, the monolith transforms into a luminous staircase spiraling upward into the heavens, and each step represents a version of you that you must shed to rise, the version that fears lack, the version that doubts itself, the version that carries guilt, the version that lives for approval, the version that hesitates to dream, the version that mistakes exhaustion for weakness, the version that mistakes silence for peace, the version that mistakes struggle for destiny. And as you climb the staircase, pieces of your old identity fall away, like heavy armor melting off your body, revealing the radiant spiritual skin beneath. And when you reach the top of the staircase, a massive golden throne floats before you, not a throne of royalty, but a throne of identity, a throne representing leadership, purpose, wisdom, and self-authority. And Jesus nods for you to sit, and the instant you do, lightning made of divine truth floods your entire spirit, rewriting the beliefs that limited you, restoring the strength you lost, awakening the confidence buried beneath survival mode, igniting an inner fire that begins to burn through every corner of your destiny. And Archangel Michael stands before you with his sword glowing like a second sun, and he declares, "Your life will not rise because circumstances change, it will rise because you change," and the throne dissolves into a massive cosmic mirror that reflects the strongest, clearest, highest version of your soul, the version that no trauma could kill, no heartbreak could destroy, no financial struggle could erase, no darkness could silence, and the reflection speaks with a voice that sounds like your courage and God's breath combined. I am here now, and the moment it steps out of the mirror and merges fully into your chest, your entire spiritual environment erupts into a blinding wave of cosmic fire, a fire so pure it burns away timelines, rewrites patterns, and pulls your destiny into alignment with your identity, and heaven folds in around you like the wings of creation closing softly, and in the final echo of this awakening, Jesus whispers into the center of your being, "Step forward, you are ready," and the message completes itself with a quiet reminder rising like dawn. Subscribe now, beloved child, so you never miss the awakenings heaven sends into your path.